The air is thin and cold, and it tastes of rock and sky. 3 Australopithecus males move along the high ledge, their powerful, grasping feet finding purchase where a modern man would see only a sheer drop. They are a hunting party, a specialized unit of the clan, pushed into these forbidding heights by the scarcity of game on the plains below. Their prey is a young ox, separated from its herd. Its dark shape a promise of life giving fattened protein against the distant, hazy green of the lowlands. This is the unforgiving landscape of the late Paleolithic, a world of vertical dangers and immense, empty spaces. Their focus is absolute, a shared mind dedicated to a single purpose, a fundamental chapter in the long, hard story of prehistoric life. The mountain groans. It is not a sound they hear with their ears, but a deep, discordant vibration that travels up through the soles of their feet and into their bones. The ground beneath them shudders, a single, violent spasm. The ox, startled, bolts, but the hunters have no time to feel the loss of their meal. A sharp, cracking sound, louder than any thunder, rips the air apart. High above them, a vast slab of the cliff face, weakened by a million years of freeze and thaw, detaches itself from the mountain. It does not fall. It disintegrates into an avalanche of stone, a river of rock that pours down the mountainside with the sound of a dying world. They press themselves flat against the cliff face, instinct overriding thought. The air becomes a choking, blinding fog of dust and pulverized drop. The roar is all-encompassing, a physical force that batters their bodies. Boulders the size of their own torsos scream past them, just feet away, leaving trails of sparks as they glance off the ledge. It is an eternity of pure, mindless chaos. Then, as suddenly as it began, it is over. The roar fades into a distant, percussive rumble. The dust, thick and gritty, begins to settle, revealing a world that has been violently remade. The 3 of them are alive, miraculously untouched. They pick themselves up, coughing the thick dust from their lungs. But the world is wrong. The wide, familiar ledge that was their path home is gone. In its place is a new cliff, a sheer, unstable wall of fractured rock that towers 100 feet high. They are on a small, isolated platform of stone, an island in the sky. The youngest of the 3, the strongest, lets out a frustrated grunt and immediately scrambles toward the rockslide, his powerful arms and legs finding holds, attempting to force a path. He gets no more than 10 feet up before the loose scree gives way, sending him tumbling back down in a shower of sharp-edged stones, his leg gashed and bleeding. The oldest of the 3, the leader, simply stares at the wall, his experienced eyes tracing its length. He sees no path. He shakes his head, a slow, grim gesture of finality. They are trapped. They turn and look out over the vast expanse, far below. The world they know stretches to the horizon, a place of safety, of their kin, of home. They can see the distant smudge of smoke from the clan's fire, a painful reminder of the community they have been severed from. The study of hominid history is the study of the group, and these 3 are now a fragment, a hand cut off from the arm. Their smallness is absolute, their silence profound. They have a small pool of rainwater trapped in a hollow of the rock. They have the clothes on their backs. They have no food. As the sun begins its slow descent, the thin air grows teeth. The primal fear of the dark is joined by a new, more calculated terror. The slow, cold mathematics of starvation. 2 suns rise and set. The world below them moves through its familiar rhythms, but on their stone prison, time is measured in the growing ache of their bellies and the rasping dryness in their throats. The small pool of rainwater is shrinking, a muddy mirror reflecting their own gaunt faces. The youngest leg wound is festering, a dark tessure of red against his skin. His youthful strength has curdled into a sullen, agitated despair. The leader is a statue of grim patience, conserving every drop of energy, his mind a fortress against the coming end. The 3rd male, the observer, sits apart, his gaze not on his companions or the impassable wall, but on the small, precious fire they keep alive for warmth through the freezing nights. It is the fire that holds his attention, specifically its smoke. He watches the thin, grey plume rise straight up in the still morning air, a fragile thread connecting their rock to the vast, empty sky. He has seen the smoke from his clan's fire from this very spot. Smoke is visible. Smoke travels farther than a shout. This is the first piece of the puzzle. A simple, fundamental observation. It is a fact without a purpose, a tool without a handle. The problem remains. Their smoke is no different from any other fire. It is a sign of life, yes, but not a cry for help. It is mute. The critical spark, the incredible cognitive leap, comes from an accident. While tending the fire, adding a few precious, dry twigs, the observer uses a piece of damp hide, torn from the youngest slag wrapping, to protect his hand from the heat. As he leans over, the hide slips, falling over the small blaze. The smoke is instantly snuffed out. He quickly pulls the hide away, and the smoke resumes its climb. A thick, concentrated puff rising before it thins out into its usual stream. He stares. He saw it. The smoke stopped. The smoke started. It was not a continuous line, but a broken one. A piece of smoke. A word. A new energy electrifies his exhausted frame. He forgets his hunger, his thirst. He picks up the hide again, this time with purpose. He holds it over the fire. No smoke. He pulls it away. Smoke. Gun. Buff. Silent. A voice. It is the birth of binary code at the dawn of thought. He looks at his two companions, then holds up 3 fingers. He looks back at the fire. He is about to attempt the first act of true symbolic communication in his lineage's history. He needs to tell a story, the most important story in the world. We are 3, and we are here. He scrambles over to the leader, grunting, gesturing with a frantic intensity. He points to the fire, then to the hide, then holds up his 3 fingers again. The leader watches, his brow furrowed. The observer demonstrates, creating a single, deliberate puff of smoke. He points to himself. Then he points to the leader and the wounded youth, and makes 2 more puffs. The leader's eyes, dull with resignation just moments before, widen with a flicker of something that has been absent for days. Understanding. He sees the desperate, brilliant logic. It is a gamble of unimaginable proportions, a message in a bottle thrown into the ocean of the sky. They must make a hard choice. To create enough smoke to be seen, they will have to burn through their meager supply of firewood at an alarming rate, sacrificing the warmth they need to survive the nights for the slimmest chance of rescue. The leader looks at the dying embers, then at the vast sky, and gives a short, sharp nod. It is a bet worth making. They stoke the fire, adding precious wood until a thick, oily column of smoke is rising. Then, together, they begin to speak with fire, sending their desperate, 3-part prayer into the silence. 1, 2, 3. A pause. 1, 2, 3. Miles below, and a world away, the daily life of the Hominid clan continues, but it is a body with a missing limb. The absence of the 3 hunters is a low, constant hum of anxiety. Every strange sound from the high peaks causes heads to turn, eyes to scan the impassive rock face. The clan's matriarch, an old female whose face is a roadmap of droughts and hard winters, sits by the fire, her gaze fixed on the mountain. Her authority comes not from strength, but from a memory that holds the history of 100 seasons. She is the keeper of their social learning, the living library of what works and what does not. And 'tis she who sees it first, not as a message, but as an anomaly. A smudge of smoke on the vast blue canvas, where no smoke should be. Others see it too, but they dismiss it with grunts. A lightning strike, perhaps. A natural fire. But the matriarch watches. Her ancient, patient eyes unblinking. And she sees the pattern. The smoke is not constant. It disappears, then reappears. A pulse. She squints. Her mind, a repository of natural rhythms, searching for a comparison. It is like a heartbeat. Then she sees the sequence. A puff, a pause, another puff, a pause, a third puff, a long silence. Then the pattern repeats. A cognitive bomb detonates in her mind. It is a connection of such profound abstraction that it represents a new way of thinking. 3 hunters left, 3 puffs of smoke. It cannot be a coincidence. It is not nature. It is a voice. She rises with a speed that belies her age, letting out a sharp, commanding cry. She points with a bony finger toward the mountain, then holds up 3 fingers of her own. Her gesture sharp, insistent. She points to the 3 empty sleeping spots by the fire. She is trying to build a bridge of logic for the others, to get them to see what she sees. The clan's dominant male approaches, skeptical. He sees only smoke. He shakes his massive head. The risk of sending a rescue party up that unstable mountain is immense. They could lose more hunters on a fool's errand. The matriarch does not yield. She stands her ground, her gaze burning with a fierce certainty. She jabs her finger again at the sky, then at the young, strong males of the clan, her cry taking on a scolding, urgent tone. It is a battle of wills, a contest between brute force caution and a revolutionary new idea. Slowly, hesitantly, her certainty begins to win. A few of the younger hunters look from her face to the sky, the seed of understanding beginning to sprout. This is social learning in its purest form, one mind transmitting a new, complex idea to the group, which must then choose to accept it. Finally, with a reluctant grunt, the dominant male concedes. A rescue party will go. The climb is a brutal, vertical ordeal. They do not attempt the fresh rockside but find a longer, more treacherous route up a neighboring ridge. They are guided by the smoke, a distant, rhythmic beacon that gives them a direction and a purpose. It is a slow, agonizing ascent. As they finally round the last outcrop onto the high ridge, they look down and see them, 3 skeletal figures on a ledge below, one lying motionless. The rescuers let out a great, whooping cry, a sound of pure, triumphant relief. On the ledge, the observer looks up, his face cracking into a mask of disbelief as he sees his kin silhouetted against the sky. He drops the hide and lets the fire burn. Its job now done. The rescue is a slow, careful process, lowering vines to help the weak, exhausted survivors make the climb. As they begin the long descent together, the clan is whole again. They are also profoundly different. The distance between them has been conquered. The sky itself is no longer the limit. It is now a slate upon which they can ride. The puffs of smoke that rose from that lonely mountain ledge were the birth of something monumental. They were language, freed from the limits of sound, from the line of sight. This was not just a clever trick. It was a fundamental rewiring of the hominid mind, the first successful transmission of an abstract, symbolic idea across a vast distance. This event, lost to the deep time of our human evolution, represents the moment our ancestors stopped being creatures who could only react to their immediate surroundings and became beings who could coordinate and plan across the horizon. It is the intellectual foundation for everything that would follow. The signal fires of ancient armies, the semaphore of sailing ships, the telegraph, the radio wave, the satellite that beams these very words to you now. Every time we send a text message, post on social media, or search for a signal on our phones, we are echoing that desperate, brilliant act. We are still the same creatures, staring at a distant signal, hoping to bridge the distance, to send a message into the void and feel the profound relief of knowing that someone, somewhere, is receiving it. The greatest distance is not across a valley, but between one mind and another. What if the message is a warning?